Hi everyone, and welcome to another InfraViewing Spotlight series. I'm super excited to have James Dell joining us today, Associate Director and Head of Technical Architecture for Planet IT. In brief, multiple award-winning IT solution provider offering multi-vendor technology in IT support, cloud, cybersecurity, hardware and software solutions across UK-wide customers and Europe. James, listen, I know you're a busy man. Thanks so much for joining. How are you?
I'm all good, Tim. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to today.
No, absolutely, mate. I know you're sort of here, there, and everywhere at the moment, and doing, certainly some exciting things at Planet IT. And when you agreed to do this, I was like, yeah, super pumped. So, what I want to do is kind of sort of just kick things off with our viewers, a little bit about sort of you, an overview of yourself, and sort of career to date, if you like.
Yeah, definitely. So I didn't have, I suppose, the natural entry into an IT career that most people have. I was a bit of a failure when it came to education. I sort of left and
Yeah,
didn't really know what I wanted to do and fell into college kind of like, and they were like, what do you like? And I was like, well, computers is what I like. I'm a bit of a geek. I like to play with stuff. So
yeah,
went into that. And then that naturally fell into very quickly picking up the actual qualifications and certifications that come with that, but also then getting some industry experience. And when I left and I completed my degree, I decided IT support was where I wanted to go. So I got straight into sort of the healthcare space, working for
okay,
Specsavers as a sort of entry IT support, and very quickly expanded through that. And then I realised that my draw was education. So went to work for education providers and did a number of roles, sort of progressing from first line all the way through to IT management in different sort of spaces for IT, and really enjoyed that. But reached the point where I thought I had more to give, and that was, realistically what I kind of reached was I've done everything I can. I'm kind of this person where I like to solve problems, but once there's nothing to solve, I don't know what I'm doing. So I reached that point and I kind of was like, well, I don't know where to go now. And then Planet IT came along. It was the opportunity to join the other side of the fence and take the skill set that I'd learned helping a single education provider and helping lots of people. So I moved across, and that was 7 years ago now. And
wow,
I've been growing and continuing to do that since, and taking my approach to kind of making zero cost entry to the point of information be the key to everything I do and everything I do on my team. And it's been an amazing journey, but it's not been the easiest one to get here. And I think that
sure.
when people look back, they go, oh, it seems like ages ago, but it really does for me. Like, it seemed like such a long time ago. I was sat behind a desk plugging cables in, wondering what was going on, to where I am now.
Yeah, and look, I love the story, right? And we're going to hear a little bit more about that sort of throughout this podcast. And look, the fact that you sort of come from at the bottom, from a sort of IT support engineer, cabling, progressing to consultant and above, and that sort of passion for that MSP solution by the world, right? Helping people, providing a
Yeah.
service, internally and externally. I love the fact, and I see you pop up all the time doing videos inside of work, outside of work, just trying to give back to an industry that, we all clearly love and have served us very well. But what else
Yeah.
could we do to empower that? And I love it. I mean, at the moment, Planet IT, hearing nothing but amazing things. I mean, you guys are an ultimate leader and, clearly recognized for the service that you offer. But just hearing about how you got into the MSP world, that transition from, I suppose, the end user space to then the fast, crazy world of MSP IT solution buyers.
Yeah.
How did you find that sort of 8 years ago or seven,
It
8 years
was,
ago?
it was a shock, right? I think
Right.
I was so used to having thousands of tickets come in, but I was dealing with them with my little team, and we were, looking after ultimately students and staff. It's quite easy
Yeah.
to then go, cool, I'm doing that for hundreds of businesses that are in different verticals, different spaces, all have different priorities. It was a shock. And I think maybe the first couple of months I was in the role, I was like, have I made the right choice here? Have I put myself down a road that
Yeah.
I don't want to be in? And then I think suddenly it all started to fit together, and it was like, well, no, everyone is having the same challenges that I was having. They're just seeing them in different ways. And it's then what I've really enjoyed doing is taking that experience that I got over those 12 years in
Mm.
different roles and going, actually, if we look at it this way and we can reframe this problem, and just being open with people, that's the one thing that I've always tried to do. Is if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. If I know the answer and there's a free solution, I'm going to tell you. It's not about just pumping solutions to people. It's about going, have you thought about tackling it this way? And is what you're looking at doing even the right fix? And that's why I think we've been so successful, because I'm not here going to people, well, you have to spend £1 million on this solution. Because if it's not the right solution for you, we shouldn't be doing that. And
Definitely.
I think that's what makes us a bit different. Like we've been doing that so much where certainly when I was the other side of the fence, people will come to you and go, this is amazing, it's exciting, it costs a fortune, you should buy it. And I'd be like, yeah, but does it solve the problem? Does it solve the problems that I'm having day to day? Or is it just there to help you push your business forward? And I think there's a pull and push there. There definitely is always, you should be helping and picking the right solutions, but you also don't want to be doing it just because it hits a sales target, right?
100%. Look, and that's where obviously Planet IT will separate themselves from potentially some other, not larger businesses, but companies that sometimes go in with one hat fits all. And the world we live in right now is just not the case. You know, people want to work with a partner that understand their business, their culture, their values, but, you know, how the infrastructure complements that and what will work now to improve, but more importantly, make it kind of bulletproof for the future, or at least, you know, enable that to evolve at the right pace. Because let's face it, technology always changing. Things pop up sometimes out of the unknown. So no, I absolutely love that. And so from a let's bring the business aside, you know, to the forefront. You know, so tell me a little bit. Yeah. Tell me what the core focus is for Planet IT currently.
Yeah, so our core focus has always been our clients, and that ultimately we have essentially two halves to our business. We have an MSP that's there, and we have a traditional kind of value-added resale piece. But for both sides of the business, it's all about the client and making sure that the client's front and center. That's our entire business focus. And, you know, it's always been a bit of a cliche, but going back, you know, when we chose the slogan for the business, it was designed around that kind of, you know, we're all about working together, and we're one team making your IT more efficient, because that's what we do. We're one team. And that's been the way that we've approached this over all the years, is being going, well, it doesn't matter whether you're someone that we look after fully or we just help with solutions and one-off projects and procurement. We're there to be with you in that battle and make sure that, you know, you're pulling forward. And our focus will continue to be that. I think as many businesses, the MSP bit is the bit that keeps growing, because, you know, post-COVID, more and more people are cutting down the size of their internal IT and struggling with resourcing and struggling with the skill set. So they'll naturally lean to people like us that has the, you know, the team in-house. But it doesn't mean that we're not always there to help. I think that the plan for us is always to keep driving and growing forward, but doing that in a controlled way. And we're not, you know, you mentioned about those businesses that get massive, right? And they lose the focus. And for us, because we know the client is the focus, we're doing that growth in a strong, controlled, gradual way, and looking at where's right to be and where's the right solutions for our clients, not where we maybe could make a quick win and grow massively, because actually we know that will ultimately hurt everyone and hurt the entire experience at the end of the day.
I absolutely love that. I was writing down, first of all, one team stood out. That's one of our values at InfraView. You know, and it's important, right? You know, I'm constantly working with candidates and clients, and, you know, the often question comes up sort of, you know, what's important for people right now? And it is going into a business where, you know, they've got the right culture, they've got teamship, they work as one team together to pull in the right direction that works well as a business, but also for the customer. And you highlighted that straight away. One of our key focuses our customers, right? And, you know, if it's not the right solution, let's find out which one is, you know. And that really stood out when you were saying, you know, we do it in a controlled way, because there are many businesses that will, like we said, you know, one hat fits all. You need this is how it's going to work, where actually they might not be ready for it right now. But just getting an understanding of what it looks like, and sometimes doing it in stages, allows that customer to feel a little bit more supported, right? And yeah, so again, where you sort of said, you know, finding that right solution, I think is so important in today's world, you know, because look, there are a lot of MSP solution providers that are saying throughout the channel that they offer a very similar solution. Sometimes things can get a little bit like sort of crowded. You know, we're a cloud provider, we're an IT solution provider, we've got managed service, we've got professional services. But, you know, this is why I love doing these types of things, because it's an opportunity for people to showcase how they're different and how, you know, and what means, what is so important to them. Yeah, I love it. One team, controlled, scaled solution, and making sure it's the right one and putting the customer first. Cool. Exactly. So, you know, we talk about customers, you mentioned client, you know, what does that perfect client look like for Planet IT, whether it's size, vertical, whatever?
Yeah, so I suppose from us, the honest thing is SMB is where we do best, and most of the solutions that we work with are in the SMB space. So kind of 50 to 500, that's kind of where most of our clients sit. And it's not saying that we don't deal with clients that are outside of those boundaries, but that's where that kind of core client is. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, I say the technologies that we work with and we partner with and we know really well, they tend to be the ones that fit in that space as well. They tend to be the products where you go, yes, that's definitely the right solution. And sometimes you said the market's very crowded and it's hard to differentiate what's an enterprise product that only works if you have 10,000 users plus. And realistically, from like a sort of vertical space, we cover everything, but we do see that biomed and education are the two spaces that we consistently get clients and we grow in, and it's one of those spaces where I think that we never intended to fall into, but just by the nature of where we are based and the clients that we started getting, we get more of them, and I think it means that we naturally grow a bit of expertise in that space. Right, my background being education, I get to bring that to the table, but we've also got other specialists who come from a biomed background who can then impart that information from their experiences onto our clients as they join us. And it's been really nice. It's good for me. It gets to allow me to mix things up a bit. But I don't think there's not a vertical that we sort of don't touch. But I think that those are the two that continue to grow without really us having to try to do anything special for them. It just naturally is from the way that we work.
Perfect. And again, right, word of mouth. Yeah. Referrals, recommendations. It's an incestuous world that we work in, certainly in this space, and everyone knows everyone. And actually that's how and why it's so important to, always offer that sort of gold service, right? And making sure that what you said, putting the customer first at all times, knowing what you specialize in, but also understanding what the client actually needs at that point. So, I love it. I mean, in terms of challenges, look, there's been a lot, sort of over the last 5 years, but sort of bringing that down to, I suppose, the last couple for you guys, what challenges you've had to sort of overcome that's made a difference to your business over the last few years?
Yeah, I think that we obviously all suffered post 2020. I think that the impact to us as an MSP was that we ended up picking up a lot of clients through that kind of 2 to 3 year period, which then massively stretched our resource. And we're open and transparent about that. That we got to the point where, leaving sort of the second half of 2023 and into the start of this year, we were running very lean because we continued to pick clients up, and the market was really difficult to recruit the right people to join our team. It takes a certain kind of person to join an MSP and be a great engineer and be able to drop into a very dynamic, very fast-paced environment. So we definitely had those challenges coming into it, and we invested a lot of money towards the back end of last year in recruitment and driving to fill those gaps, and we've done a great job coming into this year with resourcing kind of squared away. But for a while it was a challenging position to be in, right? We didn't want to turn people away, but you ultimately feel like you have to, because you go, look, we just don't have the capacity to take on more people. And the last thing that we ever want to do as a business is turn our existing clients away and say, look, unfortunately now we can't service you. So it was trying times. I think that that's always been there. I think that the other thing that we all are probably seeing now is kind of this weird kind of semi-recession piece that's going on, where it feels like there's a recession going on, but maybe it's not the recession we were expecting, and it's dragged out a lot longer. And we're seeing that people's budgets are getting pulled. So from an MSP client point of view, their budget's being pulled back by the business, but you're going, you still need to make these innovations and changes, otherwise you're going to disappear. And
100%.
Especially for my team, it's really hard because we're there shouting, going, this is the strategic way to approach it. And yes, we are asking you to invest, but we're not doing this for the sake of asking you. We're doing this because if you don't do it, then you're probably not going to be around in 18 months to ask these questions again. So we've definitely seen a lot of that, and I'm hoping that I think we've got quite a good relationship with our clients where we can be honest with them and say, look, I appreciate we're asking you to do a lot here, but if you don't do this, there's a risk there. But it's a weird world we live in, right? I don't think any of us expected that. I think we survived 2020 and we were like, right, we're going to be flying, and then it was like, no, you're gonna have more issues because we've got the budget wrong, and we're like, right, okay, the challenges are going to be there. But yeah, I can see 2024 as being a strange year for growth, but it's still growth there, and I think that that's going to be different challenges to overcome. But it's good to be in a position where we're ready to take more clients and do so in a sustainable way. And we've learned from the mistakes. We're not going to do that again.
Yeah, I mean, look, you hit the nail on the head there, and I totally agree. Sort of 2020, right? It was, the whole world got twisted upside down. things were suddenly just very different. We found a lot of the bigger companies sort of went very quiet overnight. We found the small to medium-sized companies taking a little bit of advantage of that. But what we saw was the sort of companies that were able to very quickly adapt and change and work out their internal workforce to then continue servicing the existing customers and just make sure people are all fully set up, able to work remote, etc. Okay. And then we started to see this massive cash injection, right? Sort of 221, 222, etc. It was all very much like, let's spend, right? It was crazy. It was like literally you couldn't wake up with another client saying, I need another 5 people, I need another 3 people, I need another 2 people, etc. Last year, exactly what you said there. It was a bit strange. We still saw a demand for skill set, hiring. There was still lots of pipeline. There was lots of customers saying that things are busy, but it was on that edge of caution, right? It was still a little bit like, that uncertainty in the air. Like, do I need to just work out what I've got in play right now? And can we service our customers as we are? And if we do have to probably all hands on deck, wear a couple of hats at times. That's what I sort of saw a lot of businesses doing. But what you said there, now we're ready to scale because we've got the right people with the right sort of mentality if things do get busy to be able to handle. And also we've got all the right things in place to scale from a cash point of view, or, the foundations are there to when things do start to ramp up. We've got everything in place to really execute and service our clients. No, I love it. No, it's good. And what about, the famous question, what are some of your core USPs?
Yeah, I suppose for us, the USP, I think, is our transparency more than anything else. Is it's always we'll put our hands up when we've done something wrong, because we all are human, we all make mistakes, and I think that's key. There's so many people that try and hide behind system says no, or it was magic, it just went wrong. We are very open with our clients, so much so that to the point where we don't do long-term contracts and things like that. All of our clients are on rolling contracts. So, a rival could be watching this and come in and try and steal our clients, but we know they won't, because we're as good as our last 90 days. We live and breathe on that service. So that's what really differentiates us in the market, and that's why we continue to win business. Because if someone's been in a bad contract for 3 or 4 years, and they see us and we go, look, all we're asking for is a month for us to show you what we can do, and then they're like, great, okay, well, we're joined. What's the term? What are you tying us up for? We're not tying you into something. We're showing you why the clients that work with us continue to work with us, and when it does go wrong, we'll tell you honestly where it's gone wrong and how we're going to improve from it. And we share warts and all with our kind of learning processes. Once, when we've had something that's not gone great, we'll show our clients exactly what we've learned from that and how we're going to get better. And it's allowed us to keep growing, right? We started as a very small business, and we're now not that anymore. And I think that's part of how we've done that. We don't lose clients because we are being honest, we're being open, and we're giving them the ability to go, but they don't need to. And I think that's I really like that. When I joined Planet, it was one of those things where I'd come from the market where it was, yeah, cool, can you sign this 3-year deal day one? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Do I really want to be signing on to that? So no, let's learn and grow together, right? And then we're in a much better place from doing so.
Oh, brilliant. Do you know what? I just wrote that last bit down, learn and grow together, right? I mean, that's what a partnership's all about. We make mistakes, as long as we learn from them, as long as we rectify them, as long as we work with the client or whoever to just try and overcome that in minimal time and try and reduce any cost implications. But I mean, it's really refreshing to hear what you're saying. It's not all about that 12-month, 3-year deal. Actually, it's about what we can do for that customer now. And if it works, let's improve, or let's continue doing it, right? Brilliant. I love that.
We've had many clients that, because of that, they've been with us for like 10 years plus. And
absolutely, I'm sure.
Yeah, you build relationships, don't you? And the thing is, we all trust the people we work with, and like you said, it's an incestuous kind of market. But the thing is, like, you stick with who you trust, and you move around, and you'll take the people you trust with you, and that's the truth of it. So you have to build those relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that, and it's to be honest with you, it's not something I've heard. Generally, it's all about managed service, wraparound, recurring model. Let's sign people up minimum 12 months. But like you said, if you're going into a new customer that doesn't know you, heard good things, but doesn't necessarily want to or is ready to sign up for that long period of time, let's put 1 or 2 months in play and start to get to know the customer or start to work with their needs, and then those solutions will come by default, having sort of worked really closely together, right? No, I love it. No, that's great. And in terms of I suppose I know you kind of alluded to it earlier, but plans for the next sort of 1 to 2 years or whatever. Is there any sort of direct plans right now, opposed to let's just scale, grow, and service customers?
Yeah, we've got some plans around new service offerings, so especially
Okay.
around things like RPAs and kind of process automation.
Yeah.
We've got a big service offering that we're going to bring out later this year to try and help make the most out of tighter budgets. That's where that's come from. With the more you can automate, the more that you can help people do more with their budget. That's what we're trying to do with that piece. And then for me, it's all about the kind of giving back now. That's the focus the next couple of years. We've got to a unique position where we've got the relationship with some of the larger vendors, the Microsofts of the world and your Dells and your Sophoses, and we're now being able to leverage that relationship to unlock what was previously very expensive paid training and release that for free through our partner ecosystem. So for me, it's about taking that barrier to entry away, and we've done a lot of work starting this year and kind of putting workshops together, virtual and in person, and start going, right, here's the training that previously would have been £3,000 a person. We're going to cover that cost. You can have it for free. We'll run the day for free. Come and enjoy it and come and learn together. And that's, for me, that's what I've always wanted to do. When I came across to Join the Planet, I was like, I want to give people the ability to get back into that space. I wanted the barriers that I had when I was starting in IT, where I was like, I want to learn about VMware. Great, that's a £5,000 course. Well, I'm a student, I don't have £5,000. So I was never going to be able to do that. So I have to try and scrabble together what I could learn. And it was like, no, actually, I want to get rid of that. I want to help people be empowered around the technology that we're suggesting to them. And it's something that's a big focus for this year and will continue to be. I think we've already roadmapped something in the region of 20 events this year to give people access to those resources. And then we're already now talking to the vendors about what next year looks like, because now people have seen actually the benefits from that. They're going, oh, can you do more of it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll happily do more of it and give back to the market that's been so good to me in the long term.
James, awesome. And do you know what? That stands out, honestly. I know when we first spoke, we were sort of kind of just hitting it off in terms of giving back to an industry that we both clearly love, right? And I think there needs to be more of that, if I'm honest. I think sometimes a lot of people can be so focused on revenue, profit, the end goal, more customers, which, look, let's face it, is important. We're in business to make money, and that comes off the back of servicing clients. But let's not forget how we got there. Let's not forget what we can do to empower new people coming into the industry, how difficult it can be. The change can be fairly daunting. I mean, we touched on earlier, didn't we? Moving from an end user to the MSP world, it's fast-paced, it's dynamic, it's not for everyone. It can feel a bit like, oh my word, I'm being pulled pillar to post. Everyone's got to be done yesterday, and look, any opportunity to give back, I love that. Working with the vendor, building a relationship there, utilizing any training or courses or anything that we can do to give back, which will only help us in the long run, right? It'll only empower technology, people's interest that then want to do more. And hopefully then that will just lead to more people wanting to, help others to just make a bigger and better industry. I mean, to what is already a booming market.
Well, yeah, you look at it and you go, you're telling people to move to the cloud or to move to these solutions, but you're saying move from something that we all known on-premise infrastructure for the last 30 years to an unknown. But if you want to learn about that unknown, here's a load of barriers you've got to jump through. It's like, well, no, let's take the barriers away and go, this is why this is amazing and all the things you can do with it and all the pitfalls and how to manage it. So do you want to move now? And suddenly that barrier disappears. People are like, actually, the fear's gone. I'm happy to move. And, it's opening that up and saying, yeah, of course, let's do it. And I think for me, like, if I'd had that, I would have been so happy to be able to get in front of that training, 15 years ago. And I think that realistically for me, it's that if I can find someone who's the me of the future, who's sat there thinking, I really want to get into IT, but I don't know how to do it, and I can knock those barriers down, great, right, let's do it.
Brilliant. No, I love it. And how do you see, this market, evolving in the next sort of year or two?
Yeah, I think the thing that everyone's banging on about will be AI, right? Because it's a buzzword. Every company's put it in there. It's to the point where Microsoft are putting it into devices as AI devices. Ultimately, it is changing the market, but I don't think it's necessarily changing the market in the way that people think it is. I think what it's going to do is it's going to unlock a lot more of cost saving and optimization to allow people to do much more exciting things. And I think that's potentially what we're going to see the market change like in the next few years. I think we're going to see the demands on MSP shift more from being the break fix to the we are innovating and we're driving forward and we need you to work with us. And I think from an MSP space, we're going to have to kind of catch up to that, right? We're going to have to make sure that we're in front of that curve and we're ready for the great, we're building a large language model to do X, and that's going to be our new product set. And, trying to work with that. And I think, the traditional IT of the past is disappearing, right? Those barriers and the edge of the network's disappearing, and people are being more mobile and working, globally. And I think we have to accept that will continue, as much as, the government and other people might try and be like, go back to the office and all this. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that, anything like AI and innovation through LLMs and process automation is ultimately going to enable more flexibility and more of the kind of work when you need to work, less kind of rigid approaches. But that changes as a service provider. Obviously, you then have to adapt around that. And I think we've got an eye on that already, and we're monitoring where that's going so that we don't get, caught out. Let's be honest, I don't think anyone wants to get caught out being behind that curve.
No, absolutely. And look, you're right. It's the topic of the conversation, isn't it, right now? AI, automation, sort of innovation, process, etc. And it's like, well, one person talks about it and it just, everyone starts to say, they're doing it, using it, etc. But it's interesting because I'm racking my brains at the moment. We spent the last sort of 12 months saying, we've got a hybrid model now. So we've gone from fully remote to some businesses saying, look, we want you in the office when need be, and I get the teamship, the sort of team building, the collaborative environment, etc. Other businesses saying, no, don't need it, be fully remote, as long as you can work 100%, do your job, add value, happy days. But now what we're talking about is AI automation, and, the people that are accepting that, surely we've got to then look at accepting, well, is that not going to make it even more fully remote? Because we're going to, be utilizing tools and services to then allow us to do less grunt work. I hate that phrase, but, less manual work, and getting us to, again, the human touch at the end, but the bigger and juicier stuff. So, I don't know, there's a bit of a contradiction right now. It's like, let's all get back into the office, but actually now let's utilize AI and automation to, allow us to do more in less time. So I don't know. I like where you put that into perspective.
Yeah, it's trying to be more flexible, right? And we've done that. You see the office behind me, and it probably looks dead, to be honest, because we have that flexible working, and we've embraced AI in a lot of our MSP and sort of service delivery function, and it's already changing the way we work. So that kind of, as you mentioned, that kind of grunt work, the initial bits that would be slower, we're going, well, actually, no, the AI can help with that, and we can give you some quick answers to try and cut down that time to response. But therefore, it means you're right, the guys are doing the more juicy stuff. They're looking on the more complex issues. And therefore, you go, well, do you need to be sat behind a desk? Do we need people in the office to do that? Maybe not. And it does give us it is a very different perspective to, I suppose, what the press is trying to portray as the market at the moment, is what I think we're seeing the real one. And everyone I speak to seems to be in the same sort of position around that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's still a little bit of the unknown, but I think most businesses are continuing as they are and offering that flexibility, but embracing the AI automation that is here right now. And we need to, look at how we can utilize it to our benefit. We talk about, the hybrid, the remote, obviously you guys, majority of the time remote. How are you building a productive culture then? I mean, how do you go about doing that personally or as a business?
Yeah, so the big thing is that we still try to get everyone together whenever possible, but try to put more of a social side on that. One of the things that we've always said back from when I joined and we were 20 people was it's about a family approach. And, we're 110, 115 people now, and we still maintain that as much as we can do. It's about, everyone knows everyone. Everyone is still, I class most of the people I work with as my friends, and that we'll go and do social things and we'll do team building, and it's trying to keep that in there, but also make sure that no one feels isolated. That's the thing that I know that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to remote working is you're sat at your living room or your office at home and you feel like you're on your own. I think that we've leveraged technology to make sure that everyone's always connected. We maintain that kind of sort of workplace banter environment that we had. We've got that over Teams. I think certainly the departments I work with are very good at keeping that going and maintaining that kind of, we are there for each other. And then we're there when you need to help. So there's never kind of a time where my team need me that I'm not available to them. And that goes for the wider business. If you go, look, we're working together, let's work collaboratively, use the tools we've got in front of us. And if it makes sense to come to an office and do it together, let's do that. Let's be flexible. But it's all about making sure that people don't feel that they're cut off from what made Planet the business that we all wanted to join, right? If you lose that culture, and you go, well, it's just a box ticking exercise, then your productivity drops, and then the people wanting to be there disappears, and then we're lost, aren't we? So it's been hard, and I think that, over the last 4 years, we've done a lot of trial and error, but I think we've got to the point where we are very well bonded as a team, and you'll see us do silly things like play rounders as all of us at business, which was a terrible idea, and there's lots of injuries, I'm sure, because we're not sporting people, but it was definitely worth it. It was a good laugh.
But listen, right, and that's what it's all. That's it's so important, even from a mental health point of view, right? Yeah, there's a lot of people that are either feeling isolated or isolate themselves, right? Because they're remote, they don't feel part of, they start questioning themselves. They're in the right job, the right company, and it's just so important to get that balance right. You mentioned the access to technology we got now to, like we're doing, jump on Teams, Zoom, have a quick chat. But I think it's really important not to just do that when it's business related. We need to, at every opportunity, when we're just having a catch up, a chat, a lunch break, the socials, we need to just get out as much as we possibly can. Like you said, if it's rounders, go-karting, or just literally just go down the pub and have a good old chat and a bite to eat. It's something that I think as a business we've struggled with last year, because we went through change as a business and we scaled quite quick, and we come from that small biz where couple of guys, sitting in a room just, doing recruitment, and servicing clients we have done for so many years. But then you start to scale, you start looking at the internal foundations, is it scalable, repeatable? But let's not lose that culture. And for me, it's the people that make the culture. But, you've got to make those people feel that they want to be part of, to then feel happy, to then penetrate that sort of social opportunity. It's always a tough one, but I keep seeing you guys do lots of these events, socials, catch ups, team ship building stuff. So I love it. Yeah, James, I love that. Some really good insights there. And what I want to do now is sort of bring it a little bit more back to you, just for the wider audience. And so hit me with one of your biggest career successes to date. I'm sure there's many.
Yeah, I think for me, looking back over the years, one of the biggest successes was a long time ago. I worked for a large college, so we refreshed their entire IT system during one summer. And when I say an entire summer, I think we spent 6 weeks where I didn't leave the building near enough. But at the time, it was the thing of, we got given some investment money, and it was like, we need to make this work, and we need to make it be amazing. And it was that kind of, it was a project that should have taken 2 years to deliver. And we went, no, we're going to do it in 6 weeks, and we're going to completely reinvent IT. And when the students came back in that September, it was like night and day from the old world. And I think that the feedback that everyone gave, and the fact that it was essentially a 20-year jump in IT services, and it revolutionized what we were doing at the time. It was a lot of work, but I think it's one of those things that I'm always proud of, being able to kind of say we did that, and we took something that should have been undoable, and with a team of only 6 people, we achieved that on our own back. And I think it was a lot of blood, sweat and tears, but it was definitely worth it. And I'm still 10 years on from it, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. I can still smell the Domino's pizza in the middle of the night.
the late nights. Let's get pizza in. We've got a running joke here in the office. Every time someone says, right, let's do a late, they're like, right, we're going to order the pizza. Mate, and do you know what? It's that achievement that sort of sets us up, I think, right? Yeah. For, I say forever, but puts us in that mindset of like, do you know what? Anything's achievable if we're passionate about it, if we're enjoying and love what we do, and that self-satisfaction. I mean, wow, you've advanced something that, hasn't been done for, say, 20 years or been done the same way, to then sort of take it on that digital transformation journey or whatever the better phrase is, right? No, I love it. And look, I'm sure there's so many, but I think it's always important to highlight those ones that made us who we are today, or gave us an opportunity to improve and empower and just progress as an individual. Because let's face it, we're always looking to do that. If we don't, how can we pass that on to others, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, wicked, cool. And look, in terms of advice, what advice do you have for others, that are looking to get into tech within the MSP world?
Yeah, I think that there's no perfect way to enter it. So wherever you are at the moment, you can still come and join if you want to. But I think that it's looking at that foundational piece. If you're like, I want to get into I want to get into the tech space. I want to get into MSP space. It's don't go, oh, AI is out there, it's shiny, let's train on that. Look at the foundations first, because everything's built on the foundations, right? And while AI might be the shiny thing we're all shouting about now, and going, oh yeah, it's this, it's having that foundation. All of the people I've hired in my team and for the wider business have had a solid foundation, because if you can build from that and you're willing to just do the grind, right? So you're in another job, you're working at McDonald's, you're stacking shelves somewhere, but you're putting the time in to learn technology and to try and push yourself, then I'm likely to give you a chance. And that's, there's a lot of people who don't have the natural path to where they are now that work for me. I've got guys that come from kitchens and stuff like that. And it's not the natural path to technology, but you've got the passion for it. And if you've got passion, then ultimately that shines through above everything else. And it doesn't matter, like, you can have a shiny degree and all the other stuff that comes with it, but if you haven't got the passion for technology, you're not going to succeed in this space.
Absolutely love it. I'm a big, God, people hear me. I'm sure they're bored of me saying it throughout the office. I mean, I'm a big believer of, I think the market's driven by personality and character. I just think skills and experience can be taught and gained, right? But you've got to have that passion, that love, that desire to be obsessed with what you're about to enter, right? We know it's not easy, it's tough, that you're going to fail, but there's an opportunity to overcome failure and be better and improve. But no matter what background you come from, do your homework, right? Yeah, exactly. There is so much access to online training, modules, videos. What we're doing now, just utilize all of the experience and the free access to make that decision if it's something that you genuinely want to do, and then give it your all, right? Because who wants to get up in the morning and do something they don't love, right? But equally, I think that takes a certain person to be dedicated, to put it in front of everything, make those sacrifices, and everyone wants to be at the top of their game, but they're not going to happen overnight. But it certainly doesn't have to take all your life. You can, put what you said, the late nights, the pizzas, sort of working around the clock. And that's where you get that real self-satisfaction and achievement, to know that you are actually, one, you've made the right decision, and two, you're moving in the right direction and starting to add some value.
Yeah, and it never stops, right? Like, I still spend those evenings. I'll pick up a textbook. I'll be picking up videos or training and looking to other people in the industry and saying, "What is next? What should we do?" And it doesn't stop. And that's what I suppose you have to have that passion. Otherwise, you just won't stay. It's not a market that stays still. So you have to keep evolving with it. And I think in other industries, maybe you can sit behind and go, well, I've learned it. I'll sit there and it will happen. But with IT, you've got to go, what's tomorrow look like? And what's the day after that look like? And, the people that I see succeeding are the ones who are pushing forward with it. And I think I did that from when I started in tech. And I think that if that's where you are now and going, where do I get into it? That's where you start. And that will continue for your whole career. And that will serve you really well.
But then that goes down to what we said. If you're passionate and excited and you want to learn, want to develop, there is always something else to learn, right? But unfortunately, if you haven't got that mindset, or you're not bothered, then actually the MSP world or tech isn't for you, because it is always changing, it's always evolving, there's always something new to learn. And actually, if you're excited about that, you do really well, and exactly. You get the good gigs. No, cool. Okay. Little bit off piece. Who do you admire most in this sector? Whether it be a person or a company.
I suppose it's going to sound really bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. So the reason that I took the job for Planet was Sean Smith, who's one of our founders. I was a customer, and he came in, and I listened to him talk, and I was like, there's something about the way that he talks about IT and talks about business that made me want to work for him. And I then did 3 or 4 other jobs, keeping Planet in the side. And when the opportunity came, that's why I joined Planet IT, because he was this kind of person that I wanted to follow. And having worked with him for 8 years and followed his journey, I've learned so much from him. And I think that sometimes they say don't meet the people you admire, but I think that I was always nervous when I took the job that maybe he was great in the kind of hour-long meetings that I'd sat with him, but it was going to be a nightmare to work with. But actually, I've continued to learn and grow, and it comes back to what we were just saying about being passionate and about learning and growing. There's things that obviously I know a lot about tech, and I don't know a lot about business, and it's the learning from someone who does know that. And I think that we've mentioned this is a really crowded market, right? And I think that to be able to succeed in a market like the MSP space, you have to have some certain attributes. And it was, following him around and learning those has been really beneficial. And I hope to continue to do that. It's one of those cliche answers, but unfortunately, I genuinely do mean it.
Right. And it's not, because you're clearly passionate about what you do, but there was something there that, stood out when meeting, hearing, experiencing, what you did with Sean. And then, that seed was set, right? It was like, right, when the time is right, when I am ready, there's one person I want to work for, or at least find out a little bit more about the opportunity and what it looks like, when I'm ready. And, I bet you're glad you made that decision.
Yeah, I think my family thought I was mental for about 5 years. I was going, I'm going to work for Planet IT. They're like, what are you on about? They're like, no one knows what you're on about. Like, it's going to happen. And then when the opportunity came up, they were like, okay, you genuinely made that happen. I was like, yeah, I willed that into happening, I'm sure. But it was definitely worth the pushing in that direction.
Definitely. Look, and you know what stands out for me is a phrase that I use constantly and live by, if I'm honest. It's like, always remain teachable. Because the moment you stand still, unfortunately, there's only one way, right? And it's starting to sort of fall backwards. And again, we're talking about the passion, the excitement, the learn and grow that you've been saying. And we need to be surrounded by people that we can engage with, that we trust, that we aspire to, not necessarily be like, but work with, right? Bounce ideas off each other. I'm a big believer of sort of creating that sort of opinions count type of environment. That freedom of speech, let people bring things to the table. I don't care if you've had one day in recruitment or 20 years. I think there's always an opportunity to learn from both ends. A junior or a senior, right? And I think it's the people that embrace that opportunity to pick something up. From anyone who is with any experience, any level, they're the people that stand out. They're the people that want to, I don't know, they're the people that most people want to work with and just be surrounded around. They just feel good. It creates more productivity. It creates a better environment, better culture. And I mean, he's obviously done a lot for you, mate, and that's great. And equally, you've done for him, right? There would be a reason why he hired you in the first place, and you've done some exceptional things. So I think it's a good match there, mate. Cool. Right, James. Right, we're coming to the end now, mate. I have to say, some amazing insights there. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I'm sure all the viewers will agree as well. But I just want to kind of finish it off with a few fun, quick-fire questions. Literally going to fire them out. Hit me with it. I'll start with, which 3 people would you most like to invite to dinner?
So if he was still alive, Steve Jobs would be number 1.
Cool.
I just would love to be inside his head. And then Andrew Huberman, he's someone who I've over the last couple of years really followed, and I think that'd be an amazing dinner. It'd be probably too much going on to eat. And then Dave Grohl, I think there'd be some great stories there. I think that'd be a great dinner. Yeah.
Oh, mate, definitely. There'll be a few laughs there, mate, without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm sure, I don't know about how much food we'll be eating. I think you guys will be picking each other's brains. Certainly, if Steve was still alive and still around, then I think that would, continue going. Cool. I think I know the answer to this. Microsoft or Apple?
Yeah, for work, I probably should say Microsoft, but no, 100% Apple. Everything in the ecosystem. I'm wearing the watch. I've got everything. I can't get away from it.
Love it. Wicked. Football or rugby?
Football.
Cool. I'm rugby, so that's another story. we'll talk about that over a bit. Degree or apprenticeship?
I think now apprenticeship would be the way to go.
Wicked. Cool. So one thing, like a personal passion or a hobby that most wouldn't know about you?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think people that have joined me on a call would know that music is a massive passion of mine. But if you haven't joined me on a call, you won't see in my background's normally got some lovely guitars behind me. I'm not a great musician, but I absolutely love music.
Wicked. Love it. Cool. Favorite technology over the last 10 years?
I think it has to be the iPhone. It has to be the iPhone, hands down.
Yeah, we love and hate it, right? We'll be lost without it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's it.
Best thing about working in the channel in, I'll say one word, one sentence.
I think opportunity is the only word you need for it.
Love it. Worst thing, if there is one. Or toughest thing. Let's not say worst. Toughest thing.
I think it would just be budget. It'd be the thing that is the hardest for me. Is I don't do money, but it's one of those things where it can you sort of make and break every decision you make, right?
Absolutely. Motto you live by?
At the moment, it's definitely everyone makes mistakes, because I'm human, and I know that I definitely make more mistakes than most people, but I'm learning from them. And as you mentioned, if you're not you're not moving forward, you're standing still. And that's where that comes from for me.
100%. I'm the same all day, every day. I'm saying, make mistakes. You're going to learn. You're going to be better, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. Last one. One thing you would have liked to have known back when you started your career that you now know.
It never gets easier, right? I think that's the most important thing. I think that when I started, I definitely thought that IT would get easier as I knew more. All I've learned now is there's more to learn, and I'm never going to stop that. But I love it, but it is definitely something that I wish I'd known years ago.
Yeah, big shock, right? And yeah, once you get involved in it, you know it and like it, you embrace it. Wicked. James, listen, mate, honestly, look, that has been brilliant. I mean, there's been some fantastic insights. Look, for the wider group, I just want to say once again, James, thanks so much for taking part in InfraViewing our Spotlight series. I hope you and all of Team Planet IT have continued success. Certainly sounds super exciting times right now. So I hope everyone has enjoyed hearing such great insights as much as I have. If anyone has any questions or comments for James, please feel free to add email, comment, call, whatever, any of the contact covered. Please feel free to reach out, post anything you like, or share your views below. Of course, if anyone else would like to be part of InfraViewing Spotlight series, please feel free to reach out to me. All my details below, and I'd be delighted to book you in. Once again, James, you've been brilliant, and thanks so much for your time, mate.
No, Tim, really appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Wicked. Cheers, mate.